Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Urban Homesteading channel in very sunny North Carolina. I'm Professor DIY, and behind the camera is Elpida, and my first mate is Mrs. DIY. So stick around, we're going to have a great episode for you. So today we're going to get a piece of walnut, how many we use? Three. Three pieces of walnut exactly like this, and we're going to combine it with some tile that we purchased, so you can purchase too, and make it as whimsical as you want. And we build this very beautiful decorative box. What we call this thing?
Multi-purpose box. You could put any type of collectible things in there. You can put plants in there.
So today we are going to change a little bit our and we are going to use a good quality wood, expensive wood, right? Professor DIY, stop being a cheapskate, and some tiles, and we're going to make a multi-purpose, modern looking. I presume that's modern, right? Box that can fit many different varieties, right? We're going to show you every step of the way, so stick around. So we went out and we bought these coasters because today we didn't have time to make our own, right? And we bought them for expediency because we didn't want to spend time making them, right? But you could make them, and also you can buy tiles, right? Small tiles. They come in very interesting designs. Or if you have a laser, another option for us would have been to buy white tiles and laser etch some design on them, right? Like a rose compass or a mandala, or even different things per thing. Lettering, you can do whatever you want. So there are many options. The idea here is for us to show you the process we're thinking to utilize. So we're going to start by cutting this piece into half an inch, right?
And right now it's at 3/4 of an inch. So we're
Yeah,
cutting it down. Okay.
excellent. All right, you can stop. I don't.
This is definitely a one-person operation, but having a helper never hurts. This is hardwood, this is walnut, and you need to be careful when you cut it. Your speed of fitting has to be slower than when you work with something like pine, but if you're too slow, you are risking burning the wood. Of course, on a thin cut like this, you need to use a push stick. Do not try to do that with your fingers. And also, you can see the blue tape there. This is a very good way to prevent any thin pieces from going inside the saw and potentially become a trajectory. So use common sense when you're looking at safety things. This was a very good cut, and because it was already finished wood, even the cut area wood did not need to do any sanding or anything else. It was ready to go, as you can see here, with very good results. The offcut, we don't know exactly what we're going to do with it, but I always like to keep offcuts. So keep it and make sure you're going to use it in some other project or in this project itself. So what you see me doing here is lowering the blade because we're going to make some half by half squares. We're taking the piece that we cut just previously and we're going to cut it again 3-4 more times to make the pieces we're going to utilize to make our box. So I think the best way to do a safer cut is to have the blade just protruding from the surface of the wood. This is a personal preference, of course. There are no clear-cut evidence of the safety, but my thought process here is that if you were to sleep, the blade might do some painful cutting, but it will not take your fingers off.
So our original walnut pieces are now cut to what in essence will become our frame, right? Now, our show did a very good job. I don't even think, Mrs. DIY, you think we need to sand this? I mean, they look perfect to me. They're really good, right? Now, because these are coasters, the next step is very unsexy. We'll just have to remove the little feet, right? And I thought I had my little, okay. So what we're going to do is probably use our plastic.
These plastic blades have been literally a lifesaver for us, are much safer than using metal blades, and they are excellent in removing paint.
Okay, let's put a little bit of a stop. So yeah, because I'm afraid we might scratch the finish.
Okay. So we just need to remove those from all 8 of the coasters and come back to the next step.
Right. So we remove all the miscellaneous things from the back, right?
Mhm.
And now we have a clean tile. It is not critical to do that. We're a little OCD, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. It is not a critical thing, right? But here we have some leftovers, and even I cannot find anything to do with them, so they will be thrown away. Oh no,
Oh no.
I know, right? So here we are. We're using a straight edge. Of course, we found out, like it's always the case, that they're not very well made, right? They are not straight, they're not matching well. So we're doing some, what do you call it, dry fitting
Yep.
to see how we like them, and then we're going to start connecting them. All right. Which one was it? Once again, we need to do a small repair because one of the pieces came off, and we're going to use some clear super glue, okay? And we are going to attach it so we don't have to worry about that later. I think that wasn't the other way. Okay. And in a few seconds, that will be fine, right?
Hope so.
Okay. How long it takes to dry, he says. But anyway, I think tile is a better option rather than coasters, thinking about it, because tile will be an exact size, right? The coasters clearly are not.
Unless you make them yourself. So if you're
Right.
gonna buy pre-made coasters, then, just be aware of
Only press down, not sideways.
the variance in the sides.
Right. So we have to do a little extra work because we are cheap. So here is a little more of our dry fitting, and we are doing this in order for us to find the correct dimensions, right? So now we're going to mark the height of our box. Again, if that doesn't make sense now, it will make sense in a moment, right? Again, no reason to measure for any of those. We're going to do them on the fly, and we're going to cut that on our sled. That is the safest and easiest way because it's a very small piece. It will be dangerous to do it in any other saw. So the sled is going to come to use again. Okay, turn it on. And we're going to turn the saw on, and we're going to make our cut. Don't need to hold it. Raise the blade, please. Okay, let's see if we did it correctly now. What?
This is the one that we did, and you can see that the mark was lined up exactly with that side of the sled,
Right.
which aligns with where the blade is, and that's going to make sure that you get the correct cut.
Correct?
So now we're
So-
going to go and line it up.
And it looks good to me. Okay?
Yep.
We have to do that 4 more times.
Okay.
And actually, okay. So like we always do, we are going to use the already cut pieces. Is it touching the blade, love? The short one should be touching the blade, and then so we're going to use the already cut piece to cut the remaining pieces in the exact dimension, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do that, rinse and repeat until you have all the sides you need. We're going to use CA glue to make the frame and probably reinforce it with some brad nails, right? And the way we're going to use it, we're going to put the CA glue on the long piece and the accelerator on the short piece. And then we're going to use a perfect square edge to align them. And the only tricky part will be, of course, to align them there, right? Or you want to have it down here to be easier to align.
We'll figure that out.
Okay. Okay. Okay, more.
More?
Yeah. All right, now.
I'll hold that.
Yeah, we need to move a little faster.
But hold it.
Probably you need to be vertical to spray. Okay. But spray the area that is going to glue. Don't touch it yet. Okay. Align it and touch it. Hold it for about 3 seconds. You're putting pressure there, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. It should be good.
I'm not sure if this is necessary, but I decided to pin nail the pieces. Again, CA glue is supposed to be very, very strong, but we're having a hard time here, primarily using it correctly, so reinforcement is not a bad idea.
So we're now starting the process of inserting the tiles, and we're using some super glue and accelerator for this process. And we're going to do that all around. and we're going to build our panels. This already has accelerated there, so we'll probably glue almost immediately. Okay.
Did you get them in the right order? Remember, there was an order.
So we finished one. Actually, let's go inside. So we finished one area, but the pieces are so uneven that we cannot fit it on the second part, right? On the back, in essence. So we need to just cut a little bit of a sliver off.
So we've got 2 of the 3, and the third one was actually just over the edge, so we're gonna have to cut off a little sliver of the end to make it fit in here.
And we're going to use our sled to do that. Okay. Again, you will not have this problem if you're using tile or if you make your own. Is that correct there?
So we've got tape on here to stabilize all of the
Did you check that it's high enough?
little pieces.
Right, start.
And now we've got the sled going.
Try and retry kind of thing, right?
I need the hair more.
Okay.
But it did make a nice clean cut.
Everybody knows that it is much easier to make a long piece shorter than a short piece longer. So here we're taking very small amounts each pass until we reach the point that the piece will fit perfectly. We do not want to stress the frame at all, and this is the safest and best approach.
Well, and now we're fitting pieces. Yay! Success is ours. So we've finished the front and the back, and we are ready for the side. So we're going to use one of our tiles and cut smaller pieces out of it. Again, we don't know the exact dimensions, but it makes no difference, right? And we're going to cut 4 pieces, and that will create the surrounding of our box.
Okay.
All right? This cut would be very difficult without a sled, right? This is an easy cut and a safe cut and a perfect cut. So a sled for your table saw is a very important jig that you should make as soon as you can. The only problem is they're specific to each table saw, right?
Yep.
You cannot use them. So here is the tricky part of the operation. We are going to start attaching the sides to our main frame. You're going to spray with the...
It's already done.
Okay. We're going to wait 15 seconds for the glue to dry, which is very exciting, waiting for glue to dry, right? So here we are with our upside down Barbie dining table. The next step, of course, is to put the other side on. Right? So we're letting everything settle for a while, for a moment or two, but then the idea is there.
Right.
And
pretty good.
And then we need to make the bottom and we'll be done, right? Because once you make the bottom, you're done.
Okay.
Came out again, so no matter.
In the middle.
We need to rotate it now, right? Okay. That one has already. Okay, next one. Okay. So now we need to do the bottom and we'll be done. We're going to use a piece of plywood for our bottom, and we are just aligning and we're going to mark it so we know where to cut. You know, it is not a... We want it as close as we can make it. It doesn't have to be perfect because nothing is. This is a handmade kind of thing. We have our marks on the plywood, and now we're going to go to our sled and make the cuts.
The utility and the accuracy of the table saw sled is very evident in these cuts. As you can see, it requires very little setup. You simply align the line you have made with one of the areas of your sled because this is a zero cut, a zero clearance cut in essence. So very carefully, it takes the least amount of time to assign, and you can see there here a very near perfect cut exactly on our line, imagining that we could have made a very small error.
All right. Let's see how much sanding we need to make it fit. So here is the bottom, and we are almost perfect, as you can see. We have a little bit here, which it's excellent considering this project, right? I mean, it is not a perfect project. So we're going to use a little bit of sanding until we make it so it can fit.
So you've got it where it fits very snugly.
Very snugly.
You can see the excellent fit here. It requires very little sanding, and we have a perfect fit. The table saw sled greatly improves your accuracy, and it is one of the safest way to make cuts, especially if you're using very small pieces. You can see the results here for us were excellent, and we're going to use some CA glue and some spray to accelerate the process, and that made a very nice and clean gluing job. Again, the Mrs. DIY here just put the CA glue, and then we're going to spray it with the accelerator, and that's all that is required for us to have a very good gluing process that will last for a long time. This is not intended to carry a lot of weight. It's mostly for looks. This is a nice looking box, and the accelerator here makes a quick job of an otherwise kind of monotonous gluing.
Okay. And here is the first view of our product, right? We're going to spray it with some clear poly to protect it, and it's going to bring the color out, right? So we're going to do that next. So here we are in our paint station, and we're going to just put a little clear poly on it.
It helps, right?
Right.
Put on the tiles too, the whole thing, not just the frame.
All right, sir.
And here it is finished after we put some poly to protect it, right? So it's a nice box. You want to come inside? Now there are a couple of things you can do. I forget what it's called, but the thing that you put inside flogging, I think, flogging.
Flocking?
Yeah. Or you can put any form of I don't know, paper, something to finish it, or potentially you could paint it any color you wanted. But this is the general idea. Okay, lessons learned and cost and all those things we usually tell you. What did we learn? For me was, and I keep getting this mistake that when someone makes it is nice and square, and it isn't, right? I mean, these we bought ready-made from a store that has a very good reputation for quality, right? And they were not really the same size. None of them was, which delayed us because we had to make adjustments to just match it, and it's still not perfect. I mean, you have to look close to it to
These
see.
are handmade mosaics, right? Somebody put these little pieces, decorative pieces, on top of some MDF. And because the pieces themselves were handcrafted, they weren't precisely the same. Like they're not factory made.
Right. So if you want to make it easier for yourself, tile will be perfect, right? Tile is always the same dimension, no matter what. So tile will make it go a little faster. The whole process will be the same. Like, I mean, you have to make the what I call the carcass, you know, the outside. And for this one, this is the first time we used expensive wood. So if we're to use scraps or I mean not ply, pine,
Fine.
your only cost will be the little tiles, right?
Coasters or tiles, yeah.
Now you can buy tiles at any of the big store box for maybe 99 cents, right? For this box, we use 10 tiles. Our cost for two sets of of four, 8 tiles is what we use. My math is off. And our cost for two sets of four was $10. You couldn't buy this for $10 for sure, right? And the cost of the walnut, we use walnut for the frame. The cost of the walnut was another $7. So even the way we build it, we're talking about $20 cost. But again, this is a nice project. We learn a lot in the process. For example, we learned we've been using CA glue wrong in the past. So, you know, everything you do, we never had a lot of luck with CA glue, but if all the creators that I like use them and they don't have the problems we have. So lessons learned for me. Read the directions. Anyway,
Well ventilated areas is really good when you're using
no, that has not.
poly.
That has nothing to do with ventilation. It's just me.
Poly.
Polly, you.
We were outside,
I know, but we're inside now.
but the spray's
All right. So this is what we built today. We have fun building it. It was not a very long build, was it? Right? Sourcing it was the hardest part, and what we had to source were the tiles.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else we had. So it took us some time to source things, but other than that, what you would say, 2 hours to build,
day.
and we were at the same time filming and worrying about other things that you will not have to worry. It is an interesting little build. If you wanted to sell, it would sell for a decent amount of money, I think, on Etsy or something like that. And it's something you can customize. You can make the frames and then put any tile you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this can look as um, fancy or as eclectic as you want it to do. And if I was to do it again, I think I will buy the 99-cent tile. So the tile will cost us for this $8, and I would use my laser to engrave the tile to whatever I want, right? I mean, and that will even drop the cost even more.
Or you could buy plain tiles and paint them using craft paint.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There are all kinds of things that you can do. The process will be identical, no matter how you choose to do it. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, we'd appreciate the thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the other button twice. Share, like, subscribe. Let us know what else you would like to see in future episodes of the Urban Homesteading channel, and if builds like that is something you want to see more of. From Professor DIY, Elpida, and Mrs. DIY, let's build something together.